11 people with the virus have died so far. 137 of those died between April, when the first cases began to appear, and the end of the year. But the numbers for January are staggering. 174 deaths were reported this month alone, more than the rest of the pandemic combined. Ahmed says health officials anticipated cases rising after Christmas, but he didn't expect so many deaths.
It bothers me sometimes when we continue to see people who think, oh, it's just the old people, and whether they're truly dying from COVID or not. A death is a death. You have to talk to the families. You have to talk to their loved ones, that how they feel about these deaths. And if these deaths are triggered by having COVID and dying as a result of having contracting COVID, it's sad, because we could prevent that.
Now, Dan, as we talk about stopping the spread, we know that the health unit has issued a new order, which comes into effect on Monday. But you're hearing that some are worried about its impact. Tell us about that.
So the order carries a $5,000 fine for anyone with symptoms, awaiting test results, or who's a close contact of a case and isn't isolating. But the head of Windsor's legal aid clinic says it could hurt vulnerable residents who are already balancing basic needs with the risk of exposure.
For people who are low income and their housing is precarious and their employment is precarious, they're also facing other financial sanctions. And the lack of, particularly with employment, the lack of ability to have sick days where you're going to be paid. In some employment situations, people are afraid if they don't show up, they're going to be fired. And that's going to be a huge financial sanction, particularly in times when it's difficult to find jobs.
Overholt says the $5,000 fine would mean even more stress on those who are struggling to make ends meet. She hopes officials in charge of handing out fines practice discretion. Kat.
Thanks, Dan. The CBC's Dan Takama reporting live. Canada's vaccination campaign is facing yet another hurdle in the race to protect people against COVID-19. U.S. drug maker Moderna says it must delay some shipments of the vaccine next month. The Massachusetts-based company is expected to ship between 20 to 25% less product to Canada in February than originally planned. The delay means tens of thousands of doses will be delivered at a later date. Locally, the Windsor-Essex Health Unit has been relying on Moderna to vaccinate those in long-term care and retirement homes. The health unit says it's become aware of the issue and is waiting for future direction from the Ministry of Health on how to continue the rollout locally. And Windsor Regional Hospital is cutting back hours at the Met Campus COVID-19 Assessment Center. It says there's been a significant drop in the number of people wanting a test. Starting next Monday, the site will be open on weekdays only from 8 in the morning until 3 in the afternoon. Hours will stay the same at the OLET Assessment Center. This week, fewer than 400 people have been coming to get swabbed each day at the two locations. Now compare that to the busiest day this month, January 11th, with more than 600 tests that day. The hospital says it will expand the testing center hours if demand rises again. After spending months urging Canadians to avoid international travel during the pandemic, Justin Trudeau stepped out of Rideau Cottage and into the frigid Ottawa morning with a message. Now is just not the time to be flying. And as David Cochran reports, that message is also backed by concrete measures to discourage anyone still eyeing sunny destinations.
For weeks, he's been warning Canadians not to travel because the rules could change with little notice. Turns out he wasn't bluffing.
In the coming weeks, we will be introducing mandatory PCR testing at the airport for people returning to Canada.
A mandatory test on arrival, in addition to the pre-departure test required to fly home, followed by new quarantine measures that carry a big price tag.
Travelers will then have to wait for up to 3 days at an approved hotel for their test results at their own expense, which is expected to be more than $2,000.
It's a COVID all-inclusive, a bundle of inconvenience and deterrence stacked on top of existing restrictions designed to keep people home in the cold Canadian winter.
What we're trying very hard to do here is eliminate all discretionary, non-essential travel. We urge you to cancel any plans to leave Canada in the near future, including for spring break.
It goes beyond urging. Air Canada, WestJet, Sunwing, Air Transat have all agreed to cancel flights to Mexico and the Caribbean from Sunday to April 30th, limiting vacations as COVID variants spread.
We know that just one case of the variant that comes in could cause significant challenges, and that's why we need to take extra measures.
As travel restrictions increase, vaccine supplies decrease yet again. Moderna warning Canada that next week's shipment will be down about 50,000 doses. Combined with the much larger Pfizer reductions, it leaves Canada short about 1 million doses by the middle of February. David Cochran, CBC News, Ottawa.
Cars are getting smarter and more connected. As autonomous vehicles are becoming more of a reality, so are concerns about their security. A new initiative at the University of Windsor hopes to address that right here. Jacob Barker has more.
I don't have so many concerns about my 2013 Subaru getting hacked. The most I can do is connect my phone to my radio. But as cars and their parts are becoming more and more autonomous and more connected, those concerns are growing and they're becoming more and more real.
Attacks that take place have different characteristics. They can arise from non-certified parts that are built already into your vehicle, all the way to probably a software patch that you entered your car and unknowingly kind of accept a bug into your car.
But another thing at risk is the data your car is collecting. To design the cars, the manufacturers need data from the people who are driving them. Keeping that information safe is another concern.
What happens if somebody is passively listening to all this information? What I would know about you is, where are you taking the trips? Where have you been? Where is your home? Where is your workplace? And how many grocery trips have you taken? Or if you have gone out of the city, if it's only citywide.
Two experts at the University of Windsor decided to get answer to these questions right here. Their brainchild, the Shield Automotive Cybersecurity Center of Excellence, will work to innovate, create policy, and encourage students to get into the field. Their idea has been well received. The Auto Parts Manufacturers Association of Canada is partnering with the center.
As the product evolves and the customer's relationship with the product evolves, and let's be real, regulators' relationship with the product evolves. If we're not in it in every single layer, and in the layers that have the most vulnerabilities, and we allow those standards to be set around the world, places other than here, well, those production mandates are going to go somewhere else as well.
This new venture could help evolve Windsor's role as an automotive capital. Jacob Barker, CBC News, Windsor.
It's been a long time coming. The province has greenlit construction at a new site for Catholic Central High School.
The first thing I did was come home and tell the kids. Like I said, I have had 2 boys that have already graduated from Catholic Central. So my oldest one right away said, they've been talking about a new school since I was in grade 9. And I'm like, yeah, but it's finally here. Like this is the exciting part, that eventually we are going to still have that new school.
The Catholic School Board says this is a major milestone, years in the making. In the current building, there's no air conditioning, and staff say many of the rooms are too small. Some students even head down the block to a different location for some classes. Last year, the school board retained an architect to develop a design for the new school. Officials say the current location has space for about 700 students, but the new one will be able to accommodate more than 900. The school is highly diverse, with many newcomer families and students from low-income households.
Equity doesn't mean that everybody gets the same thing. It means that those individuals who maybe don't have access to things that other people do have better access. It removes barriers. So I truly believe that this is a move toward allowing those students who have for many years gone with a little less to have a little more.
The board says it expects to receive tender pricing from a list of contractors and award a contract in early March. Construction at the new location across from the Real Canadian Superstore on Dougal Avenue is supposed to begin later this year, and then the school is expected to open for fall of 2022. Big changes are in store for We Trans Support in Windsor. It's an agency that supports the queer and trans community. Moving forward, they'll be unveiling a new name and new logo in late March, and new renovations are also on the go. All this after a change in leadership back in November. I spoke with the new exec about his big dreams and hopes for the year and years ahead.
So why rebrand?
So this is a question I get all the time. We've developed quite a great reputation under Windsor-Essex Transgender and Allied Support. But the reason we wanted to rebrand is because with new leadership, we've got some new goals, and we wanted to kind of extend our reach outside of Windsor-Essex. So our new name will have, a broader reach across different areas of the country, as well as, it changes kind of the way that we're branding ourselves with, our current name has support in it, which is excellent, which is a lot of what we offer. But our new name kind of encompasses a little bit more of, holistic wellness, and really like wellness for the entire human, when it comes to financial, emotional, physical, spiritual, all the different types of support that we offer kind of encompassed in one. So we've got a lot of new services that have kind of started being offered over the past calendar year, and it provides us a great opportunity to talk about it as well.
So tell me a little bit about these new services, particularly when we talk about the fact that the pandemic's been happening now for nearly a year. The mental health pressures have been immense on everybody. So what are you seeing where that's concerned, and what are the services that your organization is offering now to address some of that?
So we're doing a lot of outreach. So what outreach looks like for us is reaching out to different community partners and building potential relationships, but also like food bank deliveries, clothing deliveries to individual clients who are of high risk. We also have currently running Mosaic, which is our kind of addiction support program. So this is an outpatient program that runs Monday, Wednesday, Fridays virtually through our Zoom platform. And so we're providing now like not only mental health supports, but kind of also addiction supports, relationship counseling, different ways that we can support folks, within their communities and with their different, concurrent disorders or different issues that they're facing, in their intersectional identities. It's very important for us during this time to be expanding our services to suit the needs of folks during the COVID-19 pandemic, because people, especially people in the queer and trans community, are feeling very isolated, very lonely, and quite frankly, hopeless, without an end in sight. Our kind of goals for the last little while, and in my like 3 to 5 year plan, is to be like a hub in, Southwestern Ontario, where we can provide all the services that a queer or trans person might need in-house, and have a vast referral network to the services that we can't house within our own building. Part of our long-term goal is to become self-sustainable, so that we can have a full team of staff that is, permanent, not just contracts, not just part-time, so that we can really start focusing on having the services that we want for our clients all of the time without having to worry about how we're going to be able to pay for the staff for it.
When the 2020 Olympic Summer Games in Tokyo were canceled, LaSalle's Kylie Moss was confined to training and little else, and the pandemic eventually took that away as well. Now the rescheduled Tokyo Olympics set for this summer are also in doubt. The former bronze medalist says despite the uncertainty of the games, she's doing whatever she can to stay positive.
Yeah, it's been a really challenging year, I think, like it has for everyone else. It's had its ups and downs. I think because there's so much uncertainty, we never know if we're going to be in the water tomorrow, if we're going to have to be out of the water for a couple weeks, depending on the different lockdown rules and stay-at-home orders. I can't say it was shocking, because I think things escalated so quickly with the pandemic. It was bound to happen, and leading up to it, I was so positive that it was going to go forward. But as soon as our trials got postponed and more things got canceled and we were closed out of our facilities, it really seems like the only option for it to be postponed. To be honest, I think it was quite good for me personally. It was nice to have a bit of a physical break and a mental break from the sport, and it allowed me to come back with so much desire and motivation to get back to training. It's tough. I think for me, I like to just keep things in perspective and be grateful that when I am able to train, I am in the water, and ultimately the global pandemic is so much bigger than sport. So I like to keep things in perspective, and that's mentally how I kind of stay engaged and stay grateful to and thankful to be swimming.
Another live look at our city there. We do have some snow in our weekend forecast. So Nick Zerkovich will be with us right after the break, and he'll tell us all about it. Stay with us. If we ever get an abundance of snow, we may want to try this.
All you have to do is have lots of pans for freezing lots of bricks of ice, and you just add food coloring to it to the right consistency.
This colorful igloo is part of a cold weather project taking place in Saskatchewan. It's part of a local initiative to encourage people to get outside in the winter months. Mother Nature doing her work to freeze the trays of ice to form the structure. The igloo will eventually have lights installed to illuminate it at night. Let's bring in Nick Sirkovich for weather now. I don't think we're going to have anything like that in Windsor anytime soon, though.
No. I mean, the most we're looking at is a little bit of snow, but I don't think you're going to get enough for that. I like the colors, though, on that.
Me too. Reminds me of a slushie.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking that, too. It's kind of making me thirsty. All right, let's talk temperatures. Today, temperature is still on the cold side, -6 degrees, although it hasn't really come with anything in the way of snowfall. You could freeze, though. You could make some ice outside. We are warming up a little bit, though, as we head through the next couple of days, but it is going to come with the risk of just a bit of snowfall. I'm going to talk about that in just a sec. There's a look at the wind chills. So not much to speak of in terms of wind chills tonight, and that's the good news. The winds have sort of petered out, so wind chills will be contained as we head through the overnight period. Generally clear skies, however, still looking at some lingering snow squalls that are dissipating out toward the Goderich area, pushing down across London. Those will dissipate through the overnight period tonight. However, down towards southwestern Ontario, extreme southwestern Ontario, we're looking at basically clear skies into tonight, and that is going to provide for some colder temperatures through the overnight. There's a look at the bigger picture. What we're watching, though, is another system that's going to move in as we head through Sunday. So tomorrow looks pretty good. For the most part, sunshine. Increasing cloud cover, though, through the day tomorrow, and that leads us into Sunday morning. Now, Sunday morning, we've got this system pushing in. It's going to bring with it some light snowfall through southwestern Ontario, likely touching about the London area, but it should be about the extent of it. By and large, about 2 to 4 centimeters of snow, really depending on where you are. But in this case, it actually looks like the Windsor area is probably going to see the most of it, as this thing is just going to sort of clip southwestern Ontario. As for tonight, generally clear skies, temperatures down to -12, wind chills of -15, so another cold night in store for tonight. -2 for tomorrow, wind chills of -7. The winds pick up a little bit into tomorrow, an increase in cloud cover. And then as we head through the next few days, actually not looking too bad in terms of temperatures, a little bit in the way of snowfall, good for the kids. Wind chills of -8 degrees, and then a pair of zeros as we head through mid next week.
Thank you so much, Nick. Appreciate it. Now, when we come back, we'll tell you about how a court reporting student is using TikTok to give people a closer look at what it takes to be a stenographer. Stay with us.
First answer.
Welcome back. The federal government has designated January 29th as a National Day of Remembrance for the victims of the 2017 mosque attack in Quebec City.
No one should ever be afraid because of the way they pray. Not in Canada and not anywhere around the world.
It's been exactly 4 years since the attack that killed 6 people and wounded more than a dozen others at the Quebec City Mosque. The Prime Minister has designated the date as a day to remember and a call to action to fight against racism and discrimination that targets Canada's Muslim community. You're likely familiar with most of the major players in courtrooms, the lawyers, the judge, the jury. Well, now an Edmonton woman is working to raise the profile of another figure, the court reporter. She's a captioning and court reporting student, and she's taken to TikTok to shed light on what it takes to become a stenographer, and that includes typing 225 words per minute with 95% accuracy.
Welcome to the highly requested video of me just writing on my stenograph machine. I'm at about 40 words per minute.
I decided to post about it on TikTok because I'd never seen it before and I thought people might be interested in it, and it turns out I was right.
Try to type out everything I'm saying right now on your keyboard. Stenographers push down multiple keys at the same time to spell one word with each stroke.
I don't know many people who do court reporting or stenography, so I decided I would make some videos and maybe kind of bring it into the forefront of people's minds. I wanted to kind of modernize it for people because it is like a really unique and difficult profession. So I kind of wanted to show it to the world. Since then, I've gained a lot of following, which has been awesome.
I can't talk right now. I'm doing hot girl.
They want to learn more, and they just think it's absolute bonkers that it's shorthand typing or writing on the machine. I'm a big true crime fan. I love like having flexibility of my job and having no 2 days be the same. As long as I have lots of time to practice my stenography, then I would love to do TikTok along with it.
That's awesome. Now, I know that I'm pretty fast, but I don't know if I can do 225 words per minute. I might have to do one of those tests and see how I fare. That is it for CBC Windsor News. For news anytime, you can go to our website, cbc.ca/Windsor. You can find us on social media as well, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. The Rick Mercer Report is up next. Have a wonderful weekend.